Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Circle of the Earth Fellowship. Happy to see some familiar faces in chat, and as well as familiar faces in Discord. So I hope y'all are excited for our topic tonight, because our topic is going to be, as you see, public education, and I labeled it thought control. A little, love there for Pink Floyd, The Wall, and that song. And we're going to kind of get into, not really Pink Floyd, because that's going to copyright us, but we're going to get into public education as a whole, and what it's kind of has been designed to do, and how it's changed over time to the thing it is now. But before we get into that, like always, we're going to go ahead and say hello to all those who are on the panel. So without further ado, we'll jump to you, Marcia, and let you say hello. Shalom, sister.
Hello. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Circle of the Earth.
Welcome, sister. I think this one's kind of important, right? Because we know that, in particular, children are targeted for very specific reasons. So I think this is a good thing, and this isn't going to be a jab. I'd just like to say this. This isn't going to be a jab at those who are kind of forced or are up against a brick wall when it comes to using the public education system. I understand that some physically can't make that happen, and I understand that. But we'll talk about some solutions and some reasons to looking into those solutions about, homeschooling your children. So welcome, sister. We'll jump over to you, Robert. Welcome, brother. Good to see you.
Thought control to Frankie B. Hey, I am a product of public education, so we'll see if I can get through this all right without making too many mistakes. I got my little sign up here, the universe.
Ooh, the universe.
Little programming going on there in school.
Oh yeah, and right above your head. Look right above your head.
Oh yes, the globe.
Look at Harry Goldcutter.
Sweet. Well, welcome, brother. And I was a product of public education too, and so I'll even give you some of my personal information, because something didn't jive with me in public education. So sweet. Well, we'll jump over to Frankie B. Welcome, brother. How you doing tonight? Shalom.
Hey, shalom, everyone. It's gonna be a good topic. Yeah, I'm a public schooler too. Barely made it out, but thank God I did.
So it sounds like you didn't jive with the system.
No, I didn't
Sweet.
jive at all.
I'm glad we'll be able to talk about that.
I actually went to college, and I was like, "This is too much like school. F this." I left.
I actually have a very similar story to that. So, and we'll get into schoolings too. We've kind of talked about it with like secret societies, how prevalent they are within universities. In some form. If it's not like an outright secret society, they have the sororities. So that's a place that things happen in secret, and people don't know what's going on behind closed doors. And
how dare you?
Yep, and I feel like that's kind of part of it. So I'm gonna read off the description and kind of give y'all a mindset of where I'm coming from, at least with this episode, and we'll go from there. So it says, there are many important things that come with being educated, and the desires to seek truth within the world that is presented is an honorable one. The age-old adage, knowledge is power, is certainly true, but this is often replaced with the cookie-cutter style educations of today. Critical thinking, in contrast to the modern public education system, produces a veneer of knowledge often backed with so-called facts that are untestable at best. Why have these barricades been placed within the path to truth? And who placed them there in the first place? Join us as we discuss the topic of public education and the implications for our and future generations' lives from the perspective of believers seeking the puzzle pieces of truth. So that's a little snippet. That's the description of the video. And so I hope y'all enjoyed that. But before we get into it, I want to just say hello to chat real quick, and then we'll get chugging along. So let me bring that up. Boom, shakalaka. Okay, got the wrong one. Got to bring this up. So okay, got it. Sweet. So we got Tyler Porter here with us. Wendy, welcome, sister. Robert Daniels in the house in the chat too. Sweet. And then we have it looks like that's all in chat right now, but thank you for being here. I see 12 other in there, so welcome to y'all who have not said hello in chat so far. 14 of you. But yeah, let's get on to it. Get that hidden. Come on, you can do it. There we go. Sweet. Okay, so I'm gonna get a little. I think we'll do it like this. I think we're gonna show the videos that we have up front after housekeeping, and then we will. Because I have some bigger videos that I want to show, and then I have a handful of smaller videos, what I feel like could kind of end it. And I have it kind of placed in a certain order. So let's go ahead and do housekeeping really quickly, and then we will get into the show. Show screen. Boom, shakalaka. Let's go up here. Perfect. Make it big. Awesome. All right. So first off, I want to shout out to Chris and Liz Bailey over there on Take on the World. They allow us to share our puzzle pieces with their community, with their family, and I always want to give them love for that. And of course, those on Take on the World or those new to the channel, please do subscribe. It does help the channel, as well as comments, likes, shares. All of that does help the channel grow. We usually read off comments of the last video. I get what happened with this one. Unfortunately, YouTube removed my videos, so I had to re-upload it, and then I hadn't. For some reason, it just got 6:35, 6 minutes and like 35 seconds as opposed to the hour and 46. Go check this out if you haven't. It's an awesome video. It is reposted. It is edited for your watching convenience, so it won't have the intro and all that jazz in it. So yeah, go check that out and comment on it if you want to show some love. It does help the channel grow. Sweet. This conversation is happening on Discord, so if you would be interested in joining the conversation, go check that out. The link is in the description, but it's also right here as well. If you'd like to support the channel, we do sell merch. That is the way to support it. We'd rather you get something out of it, but if you'd like to donate, you can also do it there. Just a couple resources that we suggest as Bible Gateway has a lot of great versions, and you compare. But Bible Gateway is to me the bread and butter. You have all the concordances, the lexicons, all the different versions as well, and it's a really good resource. We also I would suggest Sacred Text. This is a great place to check out the Apocrypha. I definitely suggest the Book of Enoch and the Book of Jubilees. And right now we are reading the Testament of Patriarchs. Tomorrow we'll be reading the Issachar's Testament. So check that out at 4 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. So okay, sweet. We can go ahead and get rid of that. Stop sharing. Pop. Get rid of that whole screen. Get out of here. Okay, there we go. Let's pop up this other screen, and we're gonna start off with a video by a YouTuber, Kuro NGB. This is kind of just looking at the modern educational system and how it doesn't do justice to even the pursuit that it claims to do, of course being to educate the youth. So let's switch over there. We'll jump off a camera, and we will start getting it played. All right. Go live. Perfect. All right. Of course, it's not really wanting to buffer very hard, but that's okay. I wonder if I drop these, if it would be okay. Like, do I really need them? Yeah, I do. Okay, sorry guys. Just wanted it to buffer a little bit. As you see, it's only got us 31 seconds so far, and I've had this open before the show ever even started. So, riddle me this, riddle me that.
Riddle me this.
Alright, I'm going to try to play this and see what happens.
I'm just really insecure.
I be doing me, don't give a if you don't like me.
There are some weak words in here. I apologize for any weak words.
504.
5 o'clock. Balling on them. Check it. It's like I'm sounding Nike. Wanted then I cop.
The spatula, y'all know what that means. It's interview day. Today we're on Kennesaw State University. Basic questions.
Just muting it, guys, because I do not want to.
Oh, I can't tell you that.
Shit. What? Wait.
No, no, this is
9 plus 9 plus 9.
Oh my.
What is 9 plus 9 plus 9?
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Oh, I can't tell you that.
Shit. What? Wait.
No, no, this is quiz.
What's 9 plus 9 plus 9? Okay, yeah. What's 9 plus 9 plus 9?
9 plus 9 plus 9. 21.
Yes. Okay. What's 7 plus 7 plus 7?
Is that also 21?
Yeah, they're both 21.
Yeah.
What's 85 plus 25?
100.
135.
Yes.
111.
111.
Yeah.
See, that's
Okay.
not that bad.
100?
Who was the 69th president?
I don't know.
It kind of boggle your mind that, like, even though it's buffered and shows you, it's still skipping around. It's like,
Yeah.
it's so frustrating, guys. I know it's frustrating to you. Let me see if I can actually, like, it won't make it as fun to look at. But what if I jump it down to like 1080?
What do you have it at? 4K?
No.
Oh.
Let's see how this does.
Was it Kennedy?
Yes.
Oh, for
Yeah.
real?
Yeah. See? How many countries are in the UK?
I'm gonna have to pass on that one. I'm not gonna lie to you.
If you had a guess.
Maybe like countries?
Yeah.
Maybe like 21?
21 countries
Yeah,
in the
maybe,
UK?
yeah, maybe like 21 countries.
Okay. Alright, for sure.
Oh wait, no, is it? No. 0, right? Oh, okay, no. Yeah, I'm just gonna stick with 21.
How many wheels are on an 18-wheeler?
What? Wait, isn't it like 12?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
12, right?
Yeah.
Wait, no, it's not.
What is it?
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, on an
it is.
18-wheeler, it's usually 12. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, how did I know that?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's 3 times 3 times 3?
That's 9.
What's 3 times 3 times 3?
It's 9. Is it 28 or 36? 28? I think 28.
Which one?
Well, 3 times 3 is 9, and 9 times 3, I think is 28, yeah.
28. Okay, yeah, perfect.
9 plus 9 plus 9.
Sorry.
Public education is a scam. Watch this.
Education as a whole, let me explain. So there's a man named J.D. Rockefeller who created the public education system as we know it. Back in the day, there used to be something called the agrarian age, where everybody owned their own business. They owned their own farm, and people would go to school for about an hour or two every week at their local church. That's why they called it Sunday school. You'd go to school and you'd learn how to read and write a couple hours a week. That was all. They did some research to find out how to indoctrinate a nation. The research that they discovered said 12 years. That's how long it takes for people to normalize everything that's been happening. So they made school 12 years long. They made school 5 days long a week with a bell for recess and a bell for lunch to condition people for factory work. The grading system itself was a communication to your future employers. If you got an A, you'd be a good employee, and if you got an F, you'd be a very bad employee. When asked about the curriculum, found what the heck they were going to teach kids for 5 hours a day, 5 days a week, for 12 years of life, because they'd know how to read and write within a couple of years. Their answer was, teach them everything about nothing. That's why you graduated with SOHCAHTOA and A squared plus B squared equals C squared and the periodic table, and yet you're not familiar with your own system of government. You're not familiar with how to file your taxes. You're not familiar with basic life skills like conflict resolution, how to implement boundaries, budgeting, all those things that would really help you in life. So, public education.
All right, sorry, there we go. I had to at least have one technical difficulty. As you can see, we have Kyle here, Aetherial Creations in the
Oh, you little stinker! You knew.
So,
you knew.
He doesn't have ears right now, so I have to get that set up. I'll set that up during the longer video. But for right now, I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna give him the headphones so he can say hello to everyone, and then we're gonna play those other videos. Okay?
All right.
You sneaky dude, you Kyle.
Yeah, sneaky dude. Kyle's not going to be on tonight. Ah, you Vader.
Yeah, I found my way on.
You did?
I did. Good to see you guys.
Good to see you. How did you get there? Let's hear
flew.
some about that. You flew.
On an Iron Eagle.
Yeah, on an Iron Eagle, yeah. On the Delta flight.
As AI, Kyle, right?
Yeah, I'm virtually generated, actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's AI right now. We've taken all of his appearances on the show and created an AI version that I can put my headphones on.
That's right. Well,
right.
Yep.
Hi, Kyle.
What's going on, Frankie?
What's going on, Daddy?
Not much, man. It's great.
How they treat you out there? Did they take you out to dinner?
This is first time we're meeting, actually. We just met up a few minutes ago. I literally just walked in.
He walked in, I gave him a hug, and we're sitting down. So,
and they wouldn't take him out to dinner anyway because it's a Sabbath.
Yeah,
well, no, it's over.
So.
Sun's still up here.
But yeah, we could go to a later dinner, possibly. I don't know what my wife's plans are, so. But anyway, sweet. So I'm going to play another short or a 7-minute video, and then a longer video during that is when I'll get it set up. So I'm going to go ahead and play it, and then we'll go from there. So let me drop that up or bring that up on screen. I'm going to go off camera again. Oh, almost hit the wrong button. This up.
Rockefeller. made sure to get the better end of the bargain. He would donate his great wealth to the creation of public institutions, but those institutions would be used to bend society to his will. As every would-be ruler throughout history has realized, society has to be transformed from the ground up. Americans in the 19th century still prized education and intellectual pursuits, with the 1840 census finding unsurprisingly that the United States, a nation that had been mobilized by tracts like Thomas Paine's remarkably popular Common Sense, was a nation of readers, with a remarkable 93% to 100% literacy rate. Before the first compulsory schooling laws in Massachusetts in 1852, education was private and decentralized, and as a result classical education, including study of Greek and Latin and a solid grounding in history and science, was widespread. But a nation of individuals who could think for themselves was anathema to the monopolists. The oligarchs needed a mass of obedient workers, an entire class of people whose intellect was developed just enough to prepare them for lives of drudgery in a factory. Into the midst stepped John D. Rockefeller with his first great act of public charity, the establishment of the University of Chicago. He was aided in this task by Frederick Taylor Gates, a Baptist minister that Rockefeller befriended in 1889 and who would go on to be John D.'s most trusted philanthropic advisor. Gates would go on to write a short tract, The Country School of Tomorrow, that laid out the Rockefeller plan for education. In our dream, we have limitless resources, and the people yield themselves with perfect docility to our molding hand. The present educational conventions fade from our minds, and, unhampered by tradition, we work our own goodwill upon a grateful and responsive folk. We shall not try to make these people or any of their children into philosophers, or men of learning or science. We are not to raise up from among them authors, orators, poets, or men of letters. We shall not search for embryo great artists, painters, musicians, nor will we cherish even the humbler ambition to raise up from among them lawyers, doctors, preachers, politicians, statesmen, of whom we now have ample supply. Although Rockefeller's resources weren't exactly limitless, they might as well have been. In 1902, he established the General Education Board to help implement Gates's vision for the Country School of Tomorrow with a staggering $180 million endowment. The Rockefeller influence on education was felt almost immediately, and it was amplified by help from fellow monopolists of the era who were approaching the topic of philanthropy from the same angle. Although best known as a steel magnate, Andrew Carnegie's fortune started on the railroads transporting Rockefeller's Standard Oil around the country, and was greatly magnified by a lucrative investment in property near Oil Creek that provided steady, profitable oil sales. In 1905, he established the Carnegie Foundation for the Advancement of Teaching, a tax-free foundation through which Carnegie and his appointees could direct the development of the education system in the United States and, eventually, worldwide. In 1910, Rockefeller followed suit by establishing the Rockefeller Foundation, which became the tax-free umbrella organization for his philanthropic ambitions. As the Reese Committee, a congressional investigation into the activities of these tax-free foundations in the 1950s, discovered, it wasn't long before Carnegie's endowment approached Rockefeller's foundation with a proposal to cooperate on their shared desire to transform the American education system in their own image. Norman Dodd, the director of research for the congressional committee who was granted access to the Carnegie Endowment's board minutes, explains.
So they approach the Rockefeller Foundation with the suggestion that that portion of education which could be considered domestic be handled by the Rockefeller Foundation, and that portion which is international should be handled by the endowment. And they then decide that the key to the success of these two operations lay in an alteration of the teaching of American history. So they approach four of the then most prominent teachers of American history in the country, people like Charles and Mary Bird, and their suggestion to them is, will they alter the manner in which they present this subject, and they get turned down flat. So they then decide that it is necessary for them to do, as they say, build our own stable of historians. And then they approached the Guggenheim Foundation, which specializes in fellowships, and say, when we find young men in the process of studying for doctorates in the field of American history, and we feel that they are the right caliber, will you grant them fellowships on our say-so? And the answer is yes. So under that condition, eventually they assemble 20. And they take this 20 potential teachers of American history to London, and there they're briefed into what is expected of them when, as and if they secure appointments in keeping with the doctorates they will have earned. And that group of 20 historians ultimately becomes the nucleus of the American Historical Association. And then toward the end of the 1920s, the endowment grants to the American Historical Association $400,000 for a study of our history in a manner which points to what can this country can it look forward to in the future. And that culminates in a 7-volume study, the last volume of which is, of course, in essence a summary of the contents of the other 6. And the essence of the last volume is the future of this country belongs to collectivism administered with characteristic American efficiency.
All right, sweet. So that's one of the shorter videos. We're gonna play a longer video next, but real quick, let's talk about what we just saw in those kind of combined clips there. Stop streaming. Pull up the camera. Hopefully, he's gonna be able to hear from this weird ear and then respond here at the mic. So we'll see how that works. But okay, so kind of the point of that I want to talk about is how it was set up. Our modern system was set up to eventually bring collectivism. And in that first clip we saw and Kyle, you didn't get to see it, but basically what they did in that clip was they went around and asked, like, what's 9 plus 9 plus 9? And just simple, silly kind of questions like that, and people could not answer them, or they would give a completely wrong answer, and then even their demeanor, the language they were using, what they were wearing, like there's many things that you could kind of bring up, and this was a college setting, and we'll talk about college here in a little bit, but just from the foundation, they have set up a system that has was meticulously created for a purpose, and we'll get into that. Real quick before I go, I just want to say hello to some people in the live chat. We got Johnny Cool with us. Welcome, brother. Glad to see you. Run Boston Bear. Always good to see another brother Bear. We got Wildman. Welcome, brother. Hope you are doing well. Good to see you, Beetlejuice. I hope you're doing well, sister. Sweet. We got Joy here as well. Welcome. Good to see you. Daryl Calhoun, I believe it's pronounced. Thank you for being here, brother. Hope you are doing well. Jump down here. We got Mark Merritt with us as well. Welcome, brother. Sweet. Good to see you all. And good to see you. Oh, we got Chauncey Lump as well. Welcome. Sweet. Okay, so yeah, what is y'all's thoughts? Marsha, Robert, Kyle, Frankie B, what are y'all's thoughts about what he was kind of getting on there?
Yeah, we weren't that bad when we were in school. You're on mute, Marsha.
Muted, Marsha.
Seriously.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad when we were growing up, was it, Marsha?
No. I think they've got them dumber yet.
Can you hear it?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Okay.
And I agree. Yeah.
Although my grandmother taught me how to read, though.
Can y'all hear that echo of the?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's good. We'll just have to turn it back on once, so he can.
Now, you said these were college-age students.
That
they were out of college.
Yes, correct.
And they couldn't answer those questions.
No.
9 plus 9 plus 9.
Yeah, and so y'all were saying it was
21.
Yeah.
21.
Put your blonde wig on, Marsha, quickly.
What's funny about that, if you think about it, is the fact that it's a progressive system. Like y'all said, it wasn't that bad, right? Well, that's because they slowly implement these things over time, and it's never a just straight injection of what they're getting to, right? It's never a drug dealer walking up to a completely innocent child and be like, hey, you want to try heroin? You know, like something that they've heard about, or you know what I mean? So it shows intent, the fact that it is structured as this, slow boil, because that way it's not noticed, right? Because like, for instance, y'all's generation, which is kind of my father's generation, right? Well, he had a good upbringing, right? He learned a lot while in school. So of course he would put his son in school, not knowing that over the years he wasn't in school until he had children, that system had changed that much more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it baked like that through the generations. What were you going to say, Robert?
So, the statement of it wasn't that bad back then. So Teresa and I were like, we don't watch TV no more. We don't watch the news. We don't watch anything new because it all is so bad. How many people think of the, I like Saturday Night Live back when it was good?
Mm-hmm.
We've been watching like old, like 60s TV programs, Marcus Welby, and we're watching this and we're like, hey, what did they just do there? I don't remember them talk now that our minds are woke up some to this stuff, and we can see that they were sprinkling in a little bit of this, a little bit of that in there. It wasn't overt. I mean, how many people remember laughing?
Yeah.
Got Paul in on there, right? Okay. So, threw a little bit of that, sprinkle a little bit of that in there. And so then we grow up and they sprinkle a little bit more. For us, it didn't seem so bad, the little sprinkle, because, but if you would have given that to my parents right at the get-go, they would have said, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Oh, Marcus Welby, that was a show to get you to trust doctors. All that was programming to trust the infrastructure that they had, all the TV shows.
Which was also owned by the exact same people that made the educational system with the
They switched over the medical over to like having these doctors type of thing, and they want to make everybody more at ease.
Mm-hmm. Oh. What were you going to say, Kyle?
Yeah, I was going to say it's kind of interesting that slow process that's happened, because there are still individuals alive today that when they were in school, they were taught that the earth was stationary and enclosed. Great grandparents of individuals who still were taught that. So it's pretty amazing how we've devolved from that to this heliocentric evolutionary narrative. But I guess the agenda overall is to serve the government and to destroy the family unit.
Yeah, absolutely. And you literally see how it does that in so many aspects. Sweet. Okay, so let's jump into this other little video real quick. A longer video. This is with a lady named Peg Luksik. This is a town meeting in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, in 1992. And so this is more like of an informative kind of thing, but kind of from the, from the perspective of someone's like bringing this attention to their town. So this is a bit longer. We're going to let it play for a little bit so everyone gets the context. And then we're going to stop it and talk about it kind of throughout. So let me bring that up for everyone.
Yeah, if I don't jump in, that means I have to go to the bathroom.
Okay, no worries.
I never.
Sweet, and we're going to go ahead and play.
When I began the process, I just didn't like the regulations because I thought, well, they're kind of nebulous and they don't make a lot of sense. And when we started investigating, what we found is that the plan is really very organized and very well put together. The plan is to move education away from what we have right now, which is traditional education. That's, you have so many units, you had 4 classes of math and 4 classes of English and so many classes of history to graduate, to what is called outcome-based education. Outcome-based education says that the student must demonstrate something in order to meet the goal and be promoted or graduate. In the traditional system, said this is an A, this is a B, this is a C, this is a D, this is an E, and you fit wherever you fit. Now, you had so much time in order to do that, so you had 180 days, and then the achievement went up or down according to that. In outcome-based education, the theory is everybody gets an A or everybody gets a B, and however long it takes you to get there is okay. If you can get there in 3 days, then you graduate in 3 days. If it takes you 10 years, then you graduate in 10 years. Everything rides on the goals and on meeting the goals. So instead of saying the schools will teach, the theory now is the student will demonstrate. And so it's a major shift in the way we look at education. In order to understand that, I want you to think of a telephone salesman. Have you ever gotten a telephone call from a telephone salesman? You pick up the phone and the salesman says, hi, he asks you 3 or 4 questions. I'm selling purple shoes tonight, so I want to know, are you a shoe owner? And you say yes or no, and I say, do you like the color purple? And you say yes or no. Do you buy your own shoes, or does your husband buy your shoes, or your wife buy your shoes, or your children buy your shoes, or does some other person buy your shoes for you? And you say yes or no. That's my pre-test. I have just established the baseline data. Now I know where you are, so I can begin teaching you about why you need purple shoes. That's the pre-test. Now that I've established that, I'm going to do my sales pitch, and I'm going to give you 10 reasons why you really, really need purple shoes, and you can't live without them, and you want them. That's the curriculum. I have taught you something. I'm done now. Would you like to put that, Mrs. Smith, on your Visa or on your MasterCard? That's the post-test. I am assessing you to see if you have met my goal or not. My goal is that you're going to buy my shoes. You say, put it on my Visa. You have met the goal. I'm going to say thank you very much, and you may graduate from this conversation, and I'm going to hang up. You say, no, you have not met the goal. I am going to say, well, why not? What is your objection? And you're going to tell me. And I am going to remediate you. I'm going to put you through another sales pitch to make you want my purple shoes. That's remediation. You're going to walk that loop with me one more time, and at the end of the remediation, I'm going to say, should I put this on your Visa or your MasterCard? I'm testing you again. That's a reassessment. If you say, yes, you have met the goal, you may graduate from the conversation and I'm going to hang up. If you say, no, I'm going to say, what is your objection? And I'm going to remediate you again and test you again. Now, if you would stay on the phone indefinitely, I would keep making you walk that remediation loop until you finally said, yes, you're going to buy my shoes, until you meet the goal. However, in a telephone sales call, you can say, excuse me, I've been remediated enough, I'm never meeting your goal, and you can hang up the phone. A child in a classroom cannot hang up the phone. They are going to be remediated again and again and again and again until they meet the goal. That's outcome-based education.
Sweet. So a little snippet there of the conversation, and as you see, she's looking at this very logical, and she's kind of spelled it out. This is the difference between traditional education and modern education. Guys, this was in 1992. So a lot of people were already well known in this verse. Sweet. So a little snippet there. I was muted during that because I was letting the finish play so he could hear the full conversation. So apologize for that little thingy-majig. Anyways, so it's like we were talking about. So not only have they kind of switched it over time, but they did so in incremental ways as to not alert the parents, right? They didn't just go all in with the LGBT as an example right in the, right at the start of the public education system. It took, 60, 70, 80 years for eventually that to come into the curriculum. But we know, based upon what we're seeing today and based upon the information that we have, that it indeed is a very, it is a constructed plan with a ill intent behind it. What is y'all's thoughts?
That was really incredible. Just watching that myself, going, oh my gosh, that is what they did.
Yeah.
We were, I don't know when the curve got over with, but we were based on a curve.
Mm-hmm.
And so you got your grades. Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
But then they got away with it. They started saying, we can't make them feel bad anymore. Mm-hmm. So we started doing that. Nobody gets it's not done that way or whatever. I remember report cards coming in A, B, C, D, E, F, whatever,
Yeah.
And they started making them different. They didn't have that anymore. Because they weren't going to make your child feel bad. So
and that's what I'm kind of saying is they baked in the problems, knowing those problems would eventually come around, and that they would have an offer to a solution to offer that will get rid of that. Okay, we won't now, instead of just certain people who did the best get a reward, now everybody gets a minuscule award.
Right.
But then they set up the award system in a way that would eventually lead to be like everyone gets an award, right? And because often within the education system, the best to repeat or to regurgitate the information that they've been given with the mindset behind it given are often, the valedictorians, the ones that are, in AP. They're the best at remembering these facts that are, quote unquote, facts that are given and regurgitating those facts. And as you saw that last bit of that clip, she was talking about, and they're going to be reprimanded and reprimanded and reprimanded until they go along. Well, what if they don't? What if they don't get that pause? What if they can't say, no, I'm going to hang up the phone. I can't do this right now, right? And every child, if you see in the background, it's like that's what they want. They want everyone to be a robot and just to input the information so that they can output it later on. And so we see nowadays, and we'll see it a little bit later in some videos, how big of an issue that has caused our modern public education now.
But I graduated in '84. So from the time I graduated till 2015, you had to have a diploma to get a decent job. And then after, I think it was after 2015, it might have been after 2010 or 2009, they started to relax that, where you could get I work for Coke, I work for, a Fortune 500 company, and you couldn't get in without a high school diploma or a GED. Now, I think it was around 2009 or between 2009 and 2011, they relaxed that. And all you had to do was have experience doing what we do at our company. So, that's crazy how they've...
Well, that's another
over this
thing.
time, how they've relaxed the standard.
They literally just relaxed the standard in the Navy where you don't need to have a high school diploma or a GED. You can also...
When I applied for the Navy, you had to take a test. I failed the test. I couldn't get into the Navy.
Nope, they changed that.
Wow, that's crazy.
And they've done that with a lot of things. We've also seen kind of with the, the equality movement. What do you want to be? I want to be a firefighter or a policeman. Both of those standards have been reduced on the intellectual side and the physical side to allow more people to participate within that, what I would call it, a gang. So, and they've done that all across the board because they have to meet the standards of the actual public, right? And these kids are coming out of public education, and we're seeing the result of that.
Yeah.
Any thoughts, Kyle?
Yeah, I feel like I am the result of that sometimes. There's a lot of things that are questionable about that I was taught, and things I was told to repeat every single year and regurgitate years on end. But what was funny about all those years is you could ask me a question about what I learned the year prior, and I probably couldn't tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Most anything I've ever really learned was learned by my own accord, trying to find out by myself, not by the public school system. So
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a failure of the public school system.
Oh, bro, to get a little on the personal side, I graduated high school with a 1.5 GPA.
I didn't graduate.
Well, I'm just saying, and I did, so 1.5 GPA, I think is a D minus average.
Not passing.
That's what I graduated with, C's and, low C's and B's, and low B's.
Yeah, because
very low B's.
I wasn't a robot.
Some
I didn't
B's.
just go along to get along. And one of the things that I couldn't stand was homework. I'm like, if this is getting me ready for my 9-to-5 job, I'm not gonna bring my 9-to-5 job home with me and be making Taco Bell at home or make
You rebel.
Yeah, you spend 9 hours a day at school, then you come home and you got 3-4 hours of homework you have to do. They burn kids out and intentionally in that process, and they design the schools like prisons in a sense, to where the mind has to be dulled in order to participate, where the creative mind can't be given free thought. You have to be in this left sort of brain instructive thought process, and you just take in and spit out. It doesn't work, and it doesn't implant the knowledge deep at all.
And you're talking about like a metaphorical spiritual sense when you say that, but my high school was literally a copycat of a jail. They just changed a few things to make it more, not a jail as opposed to a high school. And so, yeah, it's baked into it for a certain reason, and that causes, so I'm gonna stop real quick. I want to ask each of you a question. So I'm guessing most of y'all grew up, at least your parents or your grandparents grew up Christian. Now, I may be assuming incorrectly for some of you, but if I'm not, when did you start having issues? When did you start making mistakes in your life? Like,
I actually went to catechism
and going away from the faith or knowing what you should do, and then when did that start affecting you in your lives?
Hey, Marcia, do you remember catechism for the Catholic schools? Did you go to Catholic school?
No,
well, my grandmother made me go to catechism. It was it was an after-school course, so I went to school all day, and then I had to go to that 2 or 3 times a week.
I was not raised in a Christian home.
Okay.
My sister became a Christian at 9 years old, but she couldn't get any of us on board.
Okay.
But and I was a rebel. I was the black sheep. I was the one that went wild and crazy.
So when were you the rebel? When?
Is that why your hair is black, Marcia, today?
Were you a rebel in first grade?
Red. No. When did in my teenage years, in the typical teenage years.
So this is something that's interesting to me, and the reason why I asked you the question, and I would guess, Robert, would you say the same thing, teenage? And I would say the same thing. No, okay.
He was a good boy all the time.
So that may not be true for everyone, but I think it's true for a lot of people. And what the kind of point I'm saying is, I wonder if that's also a way, like something that's kind of been baked into our culture, into our society, where it's like, when you're this age, you're this certain way. And I think that's interesting because for me personally, talking from a personal level, I had these issues when I went to middle school, when I went to high school, and I started learning the bigger things, like, we live on a planet and gravity and physics and all of these, kind of ideas that were directly contrary to what I was, to what I kind of believed. Like, I often give the example of, you're taught the Easter Bunny, the Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy, and God are all real, right? And it's like, when you go from that elementary mindset to a middle school set, you get all this other information, and now typically a lot of these things are revealed to the public, like, and then of course with God, they do that through evolution, through the whole fossil record scam, through the Lucy scam. Like, there's all these scams that happen. But what's interesting, okay, this is the real topic that I want to bring up, is how many of you have had a traumatic experience happen at school? So for me, it was 9/11. That happened while I was at school.
Oh, mine was John.
The what?
John F. Kennedy was shot.
Okay. Also,
I was in 8th grade.
Did you ever have to hide under desks? You got to be ready for the nuke to come and blow you up.
The nuke.
So you would hide under a paper mache desk.
Now it's school shooters.
Yeah, now it's shooting. So yeah, it's definitely evolved over time, right? There's also the generations where it was the Challenger, right? Where they
we had them alarms go off where you had to hide under the desk, the air horns. We had them.
Yeah.
Yeah, my traumatic event was my grandmother died in my senior year, and I missed a lot of school. I didn't go. I was really depressed.
Mm-hmm.
But Towards the end of the year, though, I kind of woke up and I realized, look, I got to graduate, and I went to school every day early, made up all my credits, and I did that to honor my grandmother. But that was my traumatic event, though, in school.
But that wasn't in school. We were talking about school.
But that affected my school life, though.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I'm more saying like major traumatic events, like, you know, some people it was the JFK, or they had to, you know, now,
all right.
Now, you know, mine was 9/11, but it was also just fire drills in general. Like, I get the purpose behind of it, but it also, like, okay, you got to take this seriously. Like, any day now, you don't know when the building could burn down, so you have to be, you know, trained into how to get out of the building properly, right? It was all this fear that was kept being inserted within the education system itself. Now, as Kyle brought up, is school shooters, right? Like, they have equipment and plans and all these extra things that none of us had to think about or worry about.
Metal detectors at school to go through.
So yeah, it's quite insane.
It's like a prison.
Yeah,
it's getting more and more institutionalized.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and again, we're going to talk about solutions, but we're going to do so at the end. Okay, so real quick, I just want to say hello to a few more people that I see joined us in chat. We got Country Fun. Welcome, sister. We got Shara. I'm going to butcher this. Good to talk to you, sister. We love you, and we love your desire to see us thrive. So we appreciate you reaching out to us. I hope you're doing well. We also have Country Kid. Hey, good to see you, Maggie. A long time no see. And Brian Verville, I'm guessing. Good to see you as well, brother. Sorry if I butchered your name. Just going to check real quick if I missed anyone. It doesn't look like I did. If I did, I apologize. But sweet. So yeah, I think like the introduction of of those kind of events, the Challenger, and they propagate it, right? Like it's definitely, with mine 9/11, like we knew so much details. We were getting the details in school from the teachers, like it was this, open exchange, like where they weren't trying to like guard our minds over the things. They were watching the images and watching the news things in school. So why would they do that? Why would they show kids and teenagers those things? Why would they have kids go under desks? Do you think that desk would have helped you? Like you did as a kid, you were like, oh, I got to get under my desk or I won't be safe.
My brother David, he thought that we weren't going to last much longer. The U.S., if not the world. Cuban Missile Crisis.
Right.
They all had to get underneath. We lived right by Selfridge Air National Guard base. So, we were, going to be fallout from the, they're going to strike the air base, right? So yeah, he thought for sure that he was going to, that we weren't going to last. And then he had the Vietnam, him and his buddy Freddie went to go sign up, but then they took off to Canada. So they did not.
It wasn't a sign up. It was a draft.
Well, right. No, but some, people, they thought they would go sign up so that they would get placed into the part of the military that they wanted rather than be forced into a part that they didn't want.
Yeah. My dad during Vietnam did the same thing. He signed up he got drafted, and so he went and volunteered so that he could choose where he was going to some degree. So that's a whole nother thing, right? They have programs within high schools, within middle schools to get people to get them who have a more, let's say, violent tendencies to go to the military, to go into ROTC, right? To join these kind of programs where it's all about going for banker wars. The same people who set up right? Who set up the public educational system. And we showed a while ago how literally, I think it was at Harvard, and Bill Gates gave paid for $100 million of doctors' tuitions. Like, what kind of sale are you getting out of that, right? What kind of cookies are you receiving back, I should say. Anyways, so okay, let's watch a little bit more of this program, and then we'll get more into the conversation about it. So,
and before you do that, did any of you just move around a lot when you were growing up?
No.
Like
I did.
Yeah, for elementary school, I went to like 6 different elementary schools.
Oh my God.
That was traumatic because I was always the new kid in school.
Oh yeah.
So I was always getting beat up or getting into fights, bullied. And then in junior high, they brought in all these kids that like were bad kids, and they enrolled them in our school. We had one kid, he was like 23 years old. He was a grown adult, and he picked on everybody. He was like 6'2", 280 pounds. He was a monster. Yeah, school was very traumatic for me, man. I hated it. I couldn't wait to get out.
Yeah, it was not fun for me either. And like I said, I got out by the skin of my teeth. So, all right, let's check out this video, and we'll go from there.
That's the ladder that everything rests on. So when I started getting involved way back in the fall, I looked at the goals, because that's what everything rests on. I thought I'd find geography, history, spelling, reading. I found adaptability to change, ethical judgment, self-esteem, family living, proper environmental attitudes, understanding and appreciating others. And I went and met with Mr. Fear, who's the executive director of the State Board of Education in Pennsylvania, and I said, where did you get these? And with every goal, there was a list of exit outcomes. That's the specific behaviors that the child has to demonstrate in order to prove that they met the goal. The child just can't say, I met the goal, I understand others, isn't that great? The child has a list of behaviors that they have to demonstrate in order to prove that they met the goal. So I said to Mr. Fear, well, where'd you get the goals? And where did you get these exit outcomes? Where did they come from? And he said, oh, we had committees meet all over the state. And we brought together teachers and parents and other groups, and we got together and had consensus forming, and we reevaluated them and redid them, and they came up with over 500 student learning outcomes. And I said, well, okay, what did they base it on? He said, oh, nothing. We developed these specifically for Pennsylvania. I said, well, you mean when they went in and sat down, the table was empty? Oh, no. I said, well, what was on the table? Connecticut's goals. Oh, okay. So I wrote to Connecticut and said to Connecticut, would you please send me your goals? And Connecticut did send me their goals. And I sat down, and Connecticut's goals and Pennsylvania's goals were the same goals. Word for word, the same goals. Since then, we've gotten the goals from 26 different states. And this just gives you a little overview of what some of those exit outcomes are and how close they were. All students understand and appreciate their worth as unique and capable individuals and exhibit self-esteem. That's Pennsylvania's. Connecticut. Each student should be able to appreciate his or her worth as a unique and capable individual and exhibit self-esteem. Does that sound familiar? You can take all the student learning outcomes and match them up. It doesn't matter what state you're in. It doesn't matter whose outcomes you're looking at. If you strip the names of the states, you can't tell whose are whose.
All right, sweet. Sorry about that. So real quickly, right there, what she said at the end was that she sent all the, hey, what's your goals, to each of the states, the public education board, and said, hey, what's your goals? And she got them all back. And when she looked at them, she couldn't tell whose was whose because they were all identical. And so it kind of reminds me of how we've shown before and talked about the media outlets, how they're all talking about disinformation, and you hear them all repeating the exact same lines the exact same way. And this is very eerily similar, right? There's this one particular goal, this list of goals that they're putting into practice for a specific reason. And so it's kind of easy to see, again, that there's intent behind it. There's this pattern of change but amalgamation of one idea. Any thoughts, anyone? You're muted, Marcia.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking the talking heads on all the news stations. That's immediately what came to mind. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I didn't even know that this was, and I didn't know they had a behavioral. They actually had a behavioral.
Oh, dude! In my day, they had counselor, and you had to go there periodically and go talk to the counselor and tell them what your goals were and what you wanted to be and what your ways of getting there are going to be. And so, not only were they teaching you certain thoughts of what to think, right? They were teaching you how to think those things and how to form a plan.
How could I forget that?
Huh?
I mean, my hair couldn't be. And I had, they'd come down and measure my hair. That was in the day we routed it real high and you couldn't have it over an inch. Well, and then your skirts had to be below your knee and all this kind of stuff.
A lot of that stuff is all gone. They're wearing booty shorts and low
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, they've completely interjected all these things, and we'll get into. Just think of how quickly that changed, right? It was like, oh my gosh, what are they going to see? Their shoulders? What is the shoulders all about, right? So then they would wear the full tops, but it would be shoulders. And then they would go with like a thick strap. And it'd be like, oh, that's okay. That's a little risque, but it's okay. And then they just keep, and then it's the same thing with everything, right? And even think about the educational system as it is, right? We were taught things like Christopher Columbus, 1972, sailed.
1492. I know that one by heart.
1492, Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue, right?
Santa Maria, Pinta, and anyway.
The Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria.
That's it.
Yeah. And so, we have all of these things that have, been burned into our brain, and we can recite them. And then as we've got adults, as we've done more truth seeking, we've come to find these things are false. And then you look back and you're like, well, why did they teach us all of these false things? And we've talked about it before, but earlier, Tyler Porter, let me post, let's see if I can find that. Here we go. Yeah. Says, and let me make this a little bit bigger. Oops, bigger. Oops, hit the wrong button.
And where did any of that I used? I didn't use any of that.
Let me make it bigger. Sorry, I'm trying to get the whole quote on there. It's looking so gross. Okay, so it says, we'll know our disinformation program is complete when everything the American public believes in is false. And totally right to share that, because they have done that through all the means, through the entertainment, through the news, through the public education system, as we're talking about now. So this is nothing new, and a lot of people, even within the truth community, may know about this, but they may not know, as we've shown, how deep it's run and how ingrained of a program this really is. And so it's quite interesting. Anyone?
I was told at one time that literally, and I think it could even be younger, but you learned nothing past the 8th grade. I mean, but they were preparing you for college
Uh-huh.
afterwards. And I think they're right. You got all the way up to algebra in 8th grade.
Yep.
Yeah.
What I learned afterwards? Nada.
And then you went to college, and then you had to relearn algebra. You had to relearn, world history. Like, there were certain subjects that they made you do anyways. Again.
An argument some parents might make is, well, the kids need to socialize. We need to send them to school so they can socialize, and that's a big thing. It's so because parents have to work. Both of them have to work a job. They're not at the house. The kids got to go to school, and the state gets to raise them. It's exactly as the program.
State gets to raise them.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And to even put that along is there's even within like the entertainment or the pop culture, the culture in general is there's always this, are they homeschooled? They're so weird. There's this like stigmata that's put on homeschool people to paint them in a bad light. And it's, again, there's a reason for that pattern. Sweet. Okay. So we're going to jump this video, and I'm gonna show you some other videos. These are a little bit quicker. Let me check the timing real quick. We got about 45 minutes left, so we're gonna do a. So I think we kind of showed what it is. This clip or whatever, this video is like an hour long. So if you want to go check it out later, you definitely can. Here's all the information you need to search on BitChute. Yeah, let's jump to another clip. This one is about 3 minutes long, and we'll talk about it once it's done. So kind of already talked about and seeing the evidence that something is there, and we're gonna see. This is called Illuminati Public Education is Satan Mind Control. And we labeled it thought control because so much that's what they want to do. They want to control the way you think, the way that you use thought in order to come to conclusions, as opposed to critical thinking, which is again in contrast to the modern public education system. So sweet. I'm gonna share this and jump off camera. Turn off. Make big, make double big, and play.
Between 1896 and 1920, a small number of powerful industrialists, together with their private foundations, spent more money on mass force schooling than the government did. Indeed, Andrew Carnegie and John D. Rockefeller together spent more money than the government did on schooling. If you want to know the motives of this project, you need only read the first public mission statement of Rockefeller's General Education Board that was printed in its first report to well-wishers, issued in 1906. People yield themselves with perfect docility to our molding hands. The present education conventions of intellectual and character education fade from their minds, and unhampered by tradition, we work our own will. We shall not try to make these people or any of their children into philosophers or men of learning or men of science. We have not to raise up from them authors, educators, poets, men of letters. We shall not search for artists, painters, musicians, lawyers, doctors, preachers, politicians, statesmen, of which we have an ample supply. The task is simple. We will organize children and teach them in a perfect way the things their fathers and mothers are doing in an imperfect way. The real purpose of modern schooling was announced by Edward Ross of the University of Wisconsin in the same year that was written. Ross is generally considered one of the three founders of the 20th century discipline called sociology. And in a book bluntly called Social Control, Ross wrote, I'll quote directly, "Plans are underway to replace family, church, and community with propaganda, education, and mass media. People, he informed his readers, are only little plastic lumps of dough. Another insider of modern schooling, H. Goddard, chairman of the psychology department at Princeton, called government schooling in 1920, quote, the perfect organization of the hive. Goddard wrote that standardized testing was to cause the lower classes to confront their biological inferiority, sort of like wearing a dunce cap.
Sweet. So, yeah, did y'all catch in the beginning that Rockefeller and Carnegie spent more money on education than the United States government did? Why would they do that? And it says they had a very specific goal. They're
Right.
trying to get workers. They're trying to get drones. They're trying to get robots so that they can have a workforce that they can basically treat like slaves. And one thing that we're taught in school, right, slavery, and it's that whole expose on that time of history, we'll say, is interesting, right? Because for that slow baked, that slow, drip, what we got was now everyone's a slave, right? We don't have property in the humans, but they do trade our, social security numbers. They do trade our labor on the stock market, definitely if you work for a big company. And so, unfortunately, that's a part of the system that was baked in by these people. And they did it starting with the children through the public education system. So if you do have children in the public education system, I can get some perks to be there. You're a light in a dark place. I can get that. But in a lot of ways, you're also throwing your children to the wolves, right? Your sheep throwing the children to the wolves, because as we talked about a little bit, how a lot of people started having troubles with their faith, or maybe that's not true, but at least me, I started having troubles in faith when I got into middle school and high school, and the whole social dynamic changed. Which is more akin to what we deal with within, factories or, manufacturing jobs or whatever it is. There is that, kind of drama. I can't think of the word to describe it, but there's that whole system of hierarchy that is very similar to what you saw in high school or college, right? Which was then re-emphasized that same behavior.
When did they take prayer out of the schools?
That was around my time in school. So in the 2000s is around when that was taken out.
Wow, because I remember my sister having Bible studies at school and people, whatever. And then in protest, whenever it happened, there was people praying and actually getting in trouble for it when my kids were in school.
Yeah, it's been a slow churn, right? And they don't just say it right away, because like you said, your parents wouldn't have it, right? They would have kicked those people out, right? So they have to do this slow drip poison, where over time it affects the populace, not directly boom one fell swoop. So sweet. Okay, let's look at this.
The funny thing is, their systems are getting so hard to do. They're dumbing down the population.
Well, yeah.
They're not going to have enough people to run their systems because their systems are so complicated.
Well, no, they used to be, right? To run a lathe or a machine, right? There had to be skill in it now. But
no, not that. I'm talking about the computer systems that were like the handhelds.
Think about a computer. To run a computer back in the day when they first came out, you had to know a lot of code, a lot of information. Now
Yes.
people have access to so much information on their little black screen, right? So they've actually made it easier and easier and easier. Think about stores now, like for instance, drive-throughs, right? Now
These
they're
kids
switching.
didn't know
Now they're
9 plus
switching.
9 plus 9.
I
I
get it,
mean,
but they're given tablets that have the calculation right there on it. That's why they don't know those things, because they have the technology that allows them to skip that, right? Remember back in y'all's day, you said you're not going to have a calculator in your pocket all the time. So you need
Right.
to learn to do these math things. Well,
Right.
now you have a calculator in your pocket all the time. And so you
And
can
you
just
don't
do the
need to.
quick math, or you can use a website that converts the numbers for you, the percentage, whatever, right? There's the apps and all the things that make all of those things that, 50 years ago would be essential into a inconvenience. It's pretty sad, right? And we got this to show for it, right? And
yeah. Well, when I can I say something? When I started my job, I had to know the 8 times table, the 6 times table, the 4 times table, and the 3 times table. So I had to know every one of them. I didn't. I knew. So I knew some of the lower numbers. I didn't know them all though. So remember them little black copybooks you used to get?
yeah.
They had the times table on the back of them. I had to cut one of them. I had to cut the back off and put it on my clipboard.
And how many times did
Just
you
so I
use
could
that?
flip it over and see what 8 times 8 was, and then over repetition, now I know
Yeah.
those timetables that I needed to know to get in how to figure out how to do my job.
Oh, okay.
It's yeah, and I had a calculator. I had all kinds of stuff, man. But yeah, it's crazy though. You know, the little things that I had to do just to get into where I work at. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I would say public education isn't all bad, right? So again, all of us are public education people, right? So even if it was the fact that public education kind of suppressed some types of minds that then revolted from that and were like bad students, right? As an example. But there were also a lot of people that did go through public education and, like me or y'all, that formed good relationships and friendships and things like that, despite all the bad stuff. So I'm not saying it's all bad, but I think it is mostly bad. I think it's, wooden rotten apple rots the whole bunch, and I think slowly over time that has spread, right? And we got nowadays where there's no such thing as biology, right? It's an open topic. There's no right and wrong. There's no factual statements. It's fluid. It's whatever you want it to be, and we, are dealing obviously with that right now. And it's children shouldn't be learning these things. And I'm like, I agree with Owen Benjamin on this. I don't think there should be any type of adults teaching kids sexual information. That should be purely from the parent. It should have nothing to do with the educational system. But like I said, back in the day, right, like they were like, oh, well, we need to let them know just the biology of when these things happen, it results our pregnancy, right? But then it developed into the whole STDs. Oh, we got to tell children about the STDs. Okay, well, now we got to teach them how to do safe sex or birth control, right? And now it's all the way evolved into this is how people swap fluids that may be from different fluid, genders. And so they're wanting to teach kids, toddlers almost, right? 6-year-olds, kindergartners, first graders, third, any of that is not acceptable, really. And I don't think it should ever be touched upon other than by the parents. And so why would they want to introduce that into it? Well, again, for me personally, until I went through that education, I had no idea about any of those things. I didn't even look at girls in that way. But now that I'm told this and I see what I was presented with, now that whole thing is on my mind, and now it got me into a lot of heartache and in trouble, and for a lot of other people it does a lot of other things to their lives, and none of them are good.
Right. Right.
Thoughts anyone about let's play the video and then we'll get thoughts about it. Oh, big screen. I'm gonna try to turn this down. We'll see. Starts glitching. Okay, let me turn it down. The quality down. No HD for us. Now it's gotta like rebuffer. I apologize for the wait, everyone, but I'd like it to play through without glitching. Give it a pause.
Well, Tim, LGBT.
How fun. I bet this is exciting for y'all. All right, let's try again. I apologize, people. Of course, it's
how annoying, huh?
Because sometimes if I just skip it, it all of a sudden works. But it's in a lower resolution. Look at all the buffering it has. Still giving us issues. I'm not even using 50% of my CPU. Not even using half of my internet speed. And it's just buffering. Okay. Maybe this is a blessing in disguise, because this stuff might get my channel in trouble.
Parents plan to
let it play for a second.
protest today's Pride Assembly.
Okay,
Satakoy Elementary School.
So
Hollywood.
aggravating. Okay, so
Not gonna work. But they just passed something for Washington State.
yeah, that was the first video I was trying to play, but
yeah, I know.
But yeah, like this actually talks about the protests of people, like leave our kids alone, and people joke and stuff about it. I'm just gonna skip these videos, guys, because of course they're not gonna let me play them. BitChute, we need to like almost exclusively get our videos from BitChute, because I feel like those play pretty well.
Too, so before you had
That's
the
true.
camera off,
Oh, true.
Marsha.
What?
Let me see.
Camera.
Is your camera on?
Yeah, my camera is on.
I didn't though. I do now because he said he was.
I'm gonna try and see if it loads better. Try it one more time to play these two. Now that my camera's off. Hopefully it plays. Oh my god, I can't tell if it's...
Well, Tim, LGBTQ youth leaders I talk with in Washington say some of the most notable and impactful people in history are gay or from other marginalized communities. They say having a law like this allows teachers to discuss LGBTQ figures without the fear of backlash.
LGBTQ identities were erased in schools, and largely in most places they still are.
Yeah.
I know it was playing okay, but I also know that the news companies will 100% like make a fit about me playing that. This looks like this is a protest against this, because we saw even I think it was San Francisco where they were literally saying we're coming for your kids. And it's like, that makes obvious sense, right? Because they can't have children, so they need to get children. It's really interesting, right? That men who date men often adopt male children. That's kind of weird, is it not? And so we have this just becoming more and more prevalent. So this is in our schools now, right? But was it not in our... Go ahead and stop sharing. that part. Was it not in, the entertainment in itself, right? At first, you had these lovable characters within movies who were secretly in the closet, right? So they were secretly there, but it was kind of evident that they were that. They just didn't open right say it. To where nowadays it's part of the story itself. It's part of the show for those characters to be that way. And so we can even see there how that has shifted. And that's kind of what I'm saying is they use entertainment and the public educational system in connection together so that they can show the universal symbol as they're learning, they're learning in school about the heliocentric model. They're being shown the universal picture. They've been shown Star Wars and different planets. And they do that with multiple of the subjects, right? They even do that kind of with God, right? They do that with evolution. They do with all these different subjects. They run a parallel scheme in the opposite, whether the media or the public education system. And you can see it echo, and you can probably remember back in the day, wearing the t-shirts, liking those things where, subconsciously you were putting out and confirming, to the people those same thoughts, right? Those same beliefs, like the heliocentric model, like evolution, etc. So very, very interesting. Okay, let me check. Okay, we got about 20 minutes left. Sweet. Okay, so I'm gonna say since Kyle's here, and we're gonna kind of conclude our stream for now, and so we can just kind of hang out some time together. But yeah, before we do, can
I say one thing?
Yeah, real quick, Frankie, before we.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I think the reason the economy is so screwed up is they really don't want mothers staying home.
Yeah.
Because they want our children in school. They want to indoctrinate them. Tomorrow is Transgender Visualization Day. It became a national holiday. My cousin texted me that today. She's furious.
Wow. So what are some solutions to these? I want to end on a good note. So look into your state's homeschooling, if there's any benefits. Like for instance, Utah has tons of homeschooling. We get thousands of dollars back in taxes to be able to buy the books, to buy the puzzles, to buy the curriculum that we then teach them. And so there are a lot of the times a lot of resources that they don't make very well known, again, because they want the children to be placed in the public education system. But many people, over many years have fought to the point where we are in this nation where homeschooling is a much more viable situation. And as people we were kind of talking about before, well, you don't want to homeschool them because they'll be weird. You need to socialize them, etc. Those same educational systems often, or those homeschooling, pay for things like instrument lessons, baseball, swimming, horse riding, lots of various other activities where they can meet and socialize with other children. So if there's a will, there's a way, and often there is financial help within the system. You just got to do a little prying in your state, in your county, to find those. And what do you get out of that? Well, if you make it possible, then you get children who are far educated above the standard that they would be within the public education system, because they're getting time from their parents with direct learning and direct teaching, knowing the personality and knowing the strengths and weaknesses of each child, as opposed to 30 children or whatever the numbers are today. And get away from the cookie cutter method of every child learning the same subject at the same time, and get to a more refined, individualized for your children, because this is our future, right? If they're your children, their progeny, that is what you're leaving to the world when you die. And so you want to invest your time and your love and your knowledge into them, to give them a better chance at this even more corrupted world, right? And so a lot of the times we can sit there and complain about, you know, the systems, the government and the way that they do through us, but often there are ways, solutions that we can push through and gain back control over our children, what they're taught, when they're taught it. And that's very freeing. So again, I no judgment to people where it's physically impossible, but you know, a sincere you know, kind of poke there to check into your local areas to make it possible. Maybe you can find, we're lucky when my wife gets to work from home remotely, so she has an avenue where she can still make the little bit extra income that we need to pay for the crazy parts of this, you know, world with all the inflation and all that jazz, but also still get to be at home with the children to dedicate that time to their teaching. So I know that was super long-winded, but I just kind of wanted to sum it up there with some positives and really look into it if it's a possibility at all. If it's not a possibility, still looking into it. You may not know, you may not know. So sweet. So hopefully y'all enjoyed the stream. We'll go through everyone and let them give their goodbyes. If anyone, before I do that, if anyone wants to add a final point about the public education thought, go ahead and do that, and then after that, we'll say our goodbyes. Anyone?
No, just want to know why Kyle flew up to your place for Passover.
Yep, for Passover.
All right.
We'll keep it
awesome. Awesome.
Are you having a Seder?
No, we're not.
No.
We're not Jews, but yeah, we're having we're roasting a lamb and all.
No smokes and crackers.
Yeah, there'll be matzah.
Oh yeah, we have matzah. We took all my wife is, you know, combing the house for all the leaven. So
I know.
Trying to eat it all before it comes. So sweet. All right. Well, let's go ahead and say goodbyes, and we'll call it a stream. We'll start out with you, Marsha. Marsha.
Well, goodbye, everybody, and it's been good. Yep.
Sweet. Thanks for being here. We'll jump over to you, Robert. Oh, you're muted. There you go.
All right. Thank you. Good night, everybody. Anyone who has had their Passover, I hope it was a good one. Anyone coming up on the Zadok calendar, couple more days. Have a good Passover.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Yep. We'll let Frankie B say goodbye, then we'll let Kyle, and then I'll call us out. So, Frankie B, if you'd like to say goodbye, sir.
Yeah. Have a great holiday, guys. Passover. And remember Jesus. Resurrection Sunday. Probably not the right date, but, you know. Still got to honor our Lord and Savior. So just remember to dig deep. The truth is out there. And just enjoy the rest of your week. And we'll see you next week. Right? We're on next week?
What are you pointing at, Robert?
We on next week, Vader?
Yep.
You're muted.
Next week is predictive programming. So
kind
of goes right along.
And a new wig for Marsha.
And a new
you
wig
might
for Marsha.
see. Maybe.
Sweet. Well, thanks for joining us, Frankie B. It's always a pleasure. Sweet. I'll let you say your goodbyes, Kyle.
All right. Shalom, everyone. It's great to be on the stream. I'm glad I could make it for this. I hope everyone has a great Passover. Public education is not very good. I'm not
It's a thumbs down.
I just have to give it a thumbs down. Keep your kids out of those schools. It's getting dangerous these days. Have a blessed weekend, everyone.
Awesome.
You have fun, you guys. I'm so glad you guys got. That's cool.
Yeah,
Very cool.
That's awesome. It's good, and we're gonna get to actually talk and meet each other here in more than Discord. So pretty excited for that.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right. Well, thank you all for being here. Thank you for the comments, the likes, the shares, the subscriptions. They all help the channel grow. And our goal here is not monetary. It is to get more people to join us around the table, to get us to join the community in the Discord, and share their pieces that the Father's given them. And remember, anyone is welcome to join the round table. You just got to join Discord to do so, and we'd love to hear your pieces of the puzzle. So until next time, guys, remember that Abba loved you first. And have a great week. Remember, tomorrow we'll have our reading of the Testament of the 12 Patriarchs. So check the YouTube for that, as well as the Discord for the event if you'd like to join for the reading and the brief discussion after that. But anyways, have a good night, everyone. Shalom. There we go. I was gonna say I'm gonna end it now. We're off. I'll start the event at 9:15. I don't know how much me and Kyle will be there, but we'll see. It's selected on deal, so we'll see. But I'll be back. Oh, they just heard all of that. Sorry, everyone.
You established this realm, and like a scroll you spread it out. Dig deep, search it out. Dig deep, seek it out. Dig deep, go on and walk it out. Dig deep. I give you oil to fill up your cup. I give you enough to fill up your lamps. Yeah, you keep them trimmed, you keep them neat, you keep on worshiping and praising till you're at his feet. Oh, King Yeshua. Yeah, David. Yeah, dig deep, search